investigate 3 appropriate tools in order to divide rational numbers. There are 3 tools that you are going to learn to divide fractions. You will not have to use all 3 of them after today. But on today's lesson, you will use each of them at least once. 3, 3, 1. How can I divide? Division with rational numbers, and you should be on page 162. A fraction is really just a symbolic representation of the quotient, answer to a division problem, of 2 quantities. The fraction 3/4 really means 3 divided by 4, or 0.75. I'm not sure why your book's not open. I'm not sure why your book's not open. Thank you for wasting our time. That's a minute from the homework. Oh, no. The fraction 3/4 really means 3 divided by 4, which is equal to 0.75, or 75/100. In this lesson, you will work with dividing fractions, positive and negative mixed numbers, and it says in decimals. We're probably not going to get to decimals today, but you will eventually get to decimals. The math notes that you have in front of you before we get started. This first math note, it's from a lesson we already did. It's multiplying decimals. Remember we talked about we have to count up the digits and bring the decimals, swoop it in. So this is a math note to help you remember how you multiply decimals. On the back is dividing by decimals. We haven't got to that yet, but we will. So sometime I'm going to ask you to get out the notes for dividing decimals. These are those notes. This we will need here in a little bit, so don't put that one away. You are going to work on number 87 in your teams. I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes, and then we're going to come together. So get started. And then finally, when we start homework, we'll take care of the pumpkin carving, winner, and the winning team.
I say that because so, like if you remember, like whenever we're doing things, we say whenever we're doing those weird problems where we had something over something like 10 plus 16 over 3, that would be your divide. So that's why we have this that's hence division. That's
Yeah, you see a fraction. What operation are you doing?
I see a fraction.
Oh, multiplication, division, subtraction, and addition.
Which of those does a fraction represent?
Multiplication.
Multiplication.
okay, so
No.
yeah. What did you guys think for multiplication?
Yeah.
Wait, what about B?
Are we correct?
We are B division.
We'll go over that in 3 minutes.
2 over 8.
B. Represents each division below a fraction. That's just division.
Yeah, I see Why do you want B?
What do you?
If it wouldn't equal zero, or if it wouldn't equal zero, that would be nothing. So,
Right, no, it's the division problems as fractions.
No, it's a letter. It's a letter.
Yeah. So it'd be,
Or you wouldn't have
no,
it.
no,
it'd always be zero.
it'd be.
On your way to the letter C, you find
Whenever you have just a one-digit number on each one. When you have a one-digit number on each. Or a two-digit.
Why do you think the denominator of fractions is not equal to zero? Because then there's nothing to put the other groups in. Obvious, but I mean. If you have 5 zeros, where are you gonna put the 5? If you're supposed to put the 5. Just delete them with a 9.
If he does, then it'll make that noise, because I have the volume up.
But they said you couldn't. Like it wasn't working. I sent the same email, I just worded it. Okay, so A, what mathematical operation? Task manager team 7, what operation does a fraction represent? Multiplication. Any teams get a different answer? Okay, let's look at what I read to you at the beginning. A fraction is really just a symbolic representation of the quotient. Answer to a division problem.
do it.
And what did I always tell you this fraction bar means?
Division.
Division. So A should have been division. B, I'm just gonna write them. This should have just been 2 over 8, 72 over 5, and 51 over 94. That's how you write them as a fraction. Why do you think, ooh, this one is a tough one because you've never run into this?
I think I know.
Why do you think, so here's a division, a fraction cannot equal 0, the denominator. Here would to be 2 divided by 0, here's the same thing, 2 divided by 0. Team 1, what do you want to say?
So, there's nowhere to put the, so let's say 2 over 0. Well, if you're dividing 0 by 2, there's nowhere to put the 2. There's 0 spaces.
No, I'm doing 2 divided by 0, not 0 divided by 2.
So there's, once again, you can't put 0 into 2 groups.
But I'm not doing 0 into 2 groups. This would be 0 into 2 groups.
2 over 0. See, there's
This
nowhere,
would be,
so if there's 0
Two
groups. something like-
okay, so you're saying 2
There's
into
0
0 groups.
There's 0 cookies,
No, this is saying there's 2 cookies,
2 cookies, 0 people.
so you're dividing it between 0 people.
Yeah.
So it's 2 into 0 groups. Team 3, what did you want to add?
Lee said that, you really wouldn't have a number because, like, you wouldn't be able to divide anything.
Okay, anybody else want to add? Team 7, you want to add anything?
You can't, you can't divide, well, you can, but it's just not practical. Dividing, 0 by 2 or 0 by 8.
I'm not dividing 0 by 2, I'm dividing 2 by 0.
Yeah, that.
This is 0 divided by 2. I have 0 cookies. Miley and I are going to share them. How many are we going to get?
0.
I can do that. The answer is 0. That's 0 divided by 2. Now I have 2 cookies and I'm dividing it between 0 people.
Can't really do that.
You can't do that. Also, 0 times what will get me close to 2?
Nothing.
Nothing. Does anybody have their calculator close?
Yeah, it's my
On your calculator, do 2 divided by 0. See what it gives you. Nobody else has a calculator?
It's in my life.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay. What? Yours is right there? Well, that's close. Don't be lazy. Get it out.
So what I
Get it out and do it.
2 divided by 0.
2 divided by 0.
You're probably gonna overload your.
I
Divide by
guarantee-
0 error.
Divide by 0 error.
Mine's an
I was gonna say you.
What'd you get?
2 divided by 0, right?
2 divided by 0.
Mine's just infinite.
Error. Shouldn't be infinite. You did 2 divided by 0? I don't know why you
Oh,
didn't get
it's
it.
probably an error, it's just there's an infinite.
Yeah, it gives you an error. I can't take 2 cookies and divide it between 0 people, because there's nobody to give it to. So, this you will see more in higher level math classes. That this is an error. This is an error. You can't do it. You wouldn't write 0 down because it's not 0. You would write error or can't be done. And what did we share about when would it be useful to use a fraction to answer a division problem instead of long division?
Our group said, when you have 1 or 2 digit numbers.
Like 2 divided by 8? Okay, any other teams want to share? How many of you would rather find the division this way than long division for 72/5? Maybe, maybe not. What about if I gave you 20/5? You like the fraction
That's easy.
or the long division?
Long division. If I could do it at like 2/8 one, I could do that one.
25ths?
I'd rather go 5/20.
That isn't 5/20s, it's 25ths or 20 divided by 5. They're both the same thing.
5.
So you'd rather the long division than the fraction? And it's total opinion. This one, I can clearly see it's 4. So it's all opinion. Okay, 88. 3 minutes to complete that in your teams.
Who wants to read? Okay. Does anyone else want to read?
Okay. Eighth grade, how you should rebuild the division problem to solve a fraction. This can also be done with negative rational numbers. Is negative 2/3 different from negative 2 over 3 or
From.
2 over negative 3 or negative 2 over 3? Discuss with your team and decide whether these rational numbers are the same.
From this computer?
You should tell me.
Okay, so I did this no. Because there's any negative
Because they're the same number, and it's gonna be the fraction number.
Like, yeah, because if there's any negative or negative fraction, I will choose whether it's the number is 2 or they're 3.
Positive 2,
So-
negative 3. It's not negative 2, what is it? Yeah. Negative 2 and negative 3 are the same.
I'm done.
No matter what you do,
No,
If these things are different.
no.
That feels like, very Look. Yeah, see how it made them all.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like we would have heard it.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, my volume's up. Is your volume up? If I turn my volume down, let's see how it's still here. No, work on your problems, because it would have been this loud in the other class. We should have heard that. Well, we'll just keep it close by.
That's no more quiet than that restroom thing.
So no, why? Why would it be no?
Did you write it down?
You should say the answer.
No, why?
Yeah, I read that so big.
I'll either turn it or
Yeah. I can write really neatly. And I can, all right, I'm looking to see if someone.
Yes.
Team question, or you were just done? Okay.
There's nothing.
Because it equals the same thing no matter what.
Oh, I turned my volume down.
Why is it back up the same thing?
Okay, so we were going to divide these, and it says, decide whether these rational numbers are the same or different. So team one, did you say that any of them are the same?
The only one that's the same to the original one is -2, the very last one.
So you think these two are the same? Okay, other teams, what are your thoughts? Team three, Maddox.
We said they're all the same. Same.
Okay, so you said they're all the same. Okay, so let's go through these. And team seven, you said the same? So this -2/3, does anybody know what 2/3 is as a decimal? It's 0.6 repeating.
Yeah.
It's 0.6 repeating. So I know that 2/3 equals 0.6 repeating. This negative, what would it tell me about my answer?
It's a negative.
It's a negative. So this -2/3 means that this whole fraction is just negative. Whatever 2/3 is, you're gonna make it negative. So that equals 0.6 repeating, but it would be negative.
I've never
Okay.
seen a negative decimal.
You can have a negative decimal.
How do you
Welcome to
have a
7th grade math.
And
Welcome to 7th grade math. You can have negative decimals
And fraction.
and fractions. Now, this one says -2 divided by 3. What does a negative divided by a positive give me?
Negative.
up the negative.
A negative, ooh. Oh, those are the same. We gotta remember our rules. That's why we made cheat sheets and told you to put them someplace safe. They're in the back of your notes. The notes I gave you from 3 to 3, I think.
Well, you told me this, that's how I knew it. You told
Okay.
me that,
Oh, yeah.
Your negative by positive would be negative.
What does a positive divided by a negative give me?
A negative.
Oh, so this one's the same.
Still.
Oh, wait, the last one.
And a negative divided by a negative is a negative.
Okay, what does a negative divided by a negative give me?
A negative.
What's positive?
Positive.
It's a positive.
No. Yes.
What? It'd still be 0.6, but it's positive 0.6. So, -2/3 is the same as these two. It doesn't matter that the negative sign is with the numerator or the denominator. It's still a negative divided by a positive is a negative, and a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So, when you write your fractions, this is a good way to write it if you want to make it a negative fraction. Just put it in front. This is another way you could write it, and it would still be a -2/3. This would still be correct, but people tend not to put it with the denominator because it's easy to lose. Like you forget that it's there.
So it's easier just to do.
It's easier to either keep it in front of the whole fraction or put it with the numerator. You're less likely to lose it. Okay, we're gonna get into some stuff that is going to be confusing. So you just need to put your brain on. You need to listen, you need to ask questions, because you will get this. We're gonna look at 3 different strategies. There may be one that you like more than the other. That's fine, but today you're going to practice all 3 of them at least once. There are 5 problems or 4 problems. I think there's 4 problems that you have to do.
Yeah, there's 4.
Yep, there's 4 problems that you have to do. So you have to do everybody's once. So this front of this math note is from your book. It's a little confusing because it's not separated. The back is also from your book. It's a little easier to understand, but we're gonna make some changes on it. We gotta make some changes to make it easier. The first one I'm gonna look at is Ramona's method. Ramona likes to use a number line. So this is the different methods. This is also the different methods, it just doesn't name them. So Ramona likes a number line, Madison likes common denominators, Hugh likes multiplying by the reciprocal. So you'll have to decide which one you like after you've practiced all 3. So I'm gonna look at the number line first. I'm gonna show it 2 different ways. So Ramona is doing 1 3/8 divided by 3/4, right?
Yes.
So she first created a number line. Let me move this stuff. So she first created a number line. She just made a number line. And on her number line, 1 3/8. So here's 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8, which is my whole. 9 or 1, 2, 3. Is everybody okay that 1 3/8 is the same as 11/8?
Yeah. Wait,
So do you see how she has 11/8 marked off? Okay, I'm gonna go back to this, because this is sometimes easier to understand. Here's my 11/8. I still have 11/8 marked off. This is the idea of the number line. Here are 11/8 written as fractions. Here are 11/8 on a number line. There's 8/8, 9, 10, 11. That's what this means. She wants to divide by 3/4. How many 8s are equivalent to 3/4? Talk in your team. How many 8s are equivalent to 3/4? You should be talking in your team.
I'm gonna explain how I got my answer, so.
6/8 because you 4 times 2 is 8 and then you use 3 times.
4 times 20.
Coming together in 3, 2,
3 times 2 is 6.
1, and 0. Team 1, reporter. What's equivalent to 3/4? How many 8s? 6 8s? Everybody good with that? So what Ramona knows is 6 8s. She needs to divide into 6 8s. She needs to know how many 6 8s, how many groups of 6 8s she can make. So if we let's look at this one first. 6 8s is equivalent to a whole group. Think of it as I'm baking a cake. I have 11/8 cup of sugar, but I need 6 8s to make a cake. How many 6 8s can I make, or how many cakes can I make? Talk in your teams.
Okay, so
How many groups of 6 8s can I make?
6 divided by 11 is 6. You can only get one, because 6 plus 6 is 12, or 6 plus 6 is 12, or 6 times 2 is 12. There's 11, which means it's 6, 1, which means
I don't hear a lot of discussion with teams. How many groups of 6 8s can I make? 6 8s is equal to one whole group. So team 7, how many groups can I make of 6 8s?
1.
Does everybody agree with 1? Okay, so here's my one group of 6 8s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have one group of 6 8s.
I know how 5 is.
Now, over here, she did the same idea, but on a number line. So she said, oh, here's 6 8s. This is one group of 6 8s. I have one whole group of 6 8s. How many do I need to make a whole group?
6.
I need 6. I'm short, right? Because I don't have 6 more left. How many do I have left? I have 5. I have 5 8s left, but how many 8s do I need?
6.
6. I need one more, but I need 6 total. So this is how she gets her answer. This is where the number line can get tricky. I have 5 8s left, but I need 6 8s to make another group. So I have 5 6 of another group.
Oh, I understand.
I have 5 of the 6 I need. And I need 8, so I have 5 of the 6 that I need. Does everybody see that? Because this is where it can get tricky. It's not 5 8s left over, it's 5 out of 6. And that's what Ramona shows here. She circles what's left, and she says, oh, I don't have enough to make another whole. I only have 5 left over, and that is 5 of the 6 I need. I have 5 parts of the 6 I need. So her answer is 1 and 5, 6. That's Ramona's number line. The number line can get complicated. You only have to do it once. Questions that you have right now. So again, whatever you need to add to your math notes, feel free to add on. So I needed groups of 5/8, because I said 3/4 equals 5/8. My giant one was 2/2. So I have 5/8 there, so I can make one whole group. I was 5 out of 6 left, so I have 1 and 5, 6. Madison, how many of you feel good about common denominators? You might like Madison. This is where we need to add on because there's some missing parts that make it confusing. So here's Madison. Same problem. 1 and 3/8 divided by 3/4. She changed it to 11/8 and 6/8. She found a common denominator. Everybody okay with that so far?
So it says, how did she get 11/8?
Can anybody tell us how she got 11/8? How she went from 1 and 3/8 to 11/8? Wyatt?
Did she take the one away and make it 8?
I know.
8/8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wyatt's saying this is 8/8 plus 3/8 give us 11/8. Everybody okay there? Everybody still okay with 3/4 is equivalent to 6/8?
Oh, I see what she, I thought they meant 3/4 with the 11/8.
No.
Now I see, okay.
So then she just set it up as division. Okay, 11/8 divided by 6/8. That's written on your notes. Well, no, that's what's missing. You might want to write that in somewhere, maybe before the 11 divided by 6 in front of that. This is probably what you want in front of the math note. Let me see if I got the math note. I don't have the math note on here. But in front of the math note, you see where it says 11 divided by 6? On the math note, in the center, under Madison. See where you can see 11 divided by 6? Everybody see the 11 divided by 6. In front of that, write this. In front of it. So you're probably going to have to write kind of small. In front of that, write it 11/8 divided by 6/8.
Wait, that whole thing?
Just the 11/8 divided by 6/8 in front. Team 1, you got it written down? Team 3, you got it written down? Team 7, you're finishing up? So this is what Madison did next. You're not going anywhere right now. So I'd sit down and finish watching this. 11/8 divided by 6/8. She then just made it a big fraction. Oh, that's 11 divided by 6 over 8 divided by 8. So on your paper, you see where it says 11 divided by 6? Draw a line, and underneath that, write 8 divided by 8. Draw a line and write 8 divided by 8 underneath that 11 divided by 6. So she's just making 2 division problems. Questions that you have so far? Did you write that down, Mason? Okay. So now she just started doing her division. 11 divided by 6. She didn't change that. Because that's going to be something ugly, she's just leaving that. But 8, well, how did she get this 1?
Because if you do 8 divided by 8, you get 1.
Yeah, she just didn't write it down. But when she does the 8 divided by 8, she gets 1. So right now, this is what she has. I don't know if you could fit that in there somewhere because they don't have, there's not enough room. But you might want to write that somewhere, that it's 11 and a half, 11 divided by 6 over 1. So she has 11 divided by 6 over 1. She already did the 8 divided by 8. She's like, I can do that, it's easy. So then when we look at her next step, she just has 11 divided by 6, right? Because the 1 is just 1. Remember what you told me that division can be written as a fraction? Look what she did. She wrote 11 divided by 6 as a fraction. You can keep it like this. She just renamed it. I can make 1 whole and I have 5, 6 left over. So again, she found a common denominator. She set it up as 11/8 divided by 6/8. So these are her 2 fractions. We good there? Then she said, oh, I just do 11 divided by 6. Remember Audrey who said just multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators? Well, she's using Audrey's method, but she's using division now. Divide the numerator, divide the denominator. 11 divided by 6, 8 divided by 8. Ooh, I know that's 1. 11 divided by 6, I'm just going to put it as a fraction. There's her answer. So once she found the common denominators, it was just a matter of dividing the numerator and dividing the denominators.
And so now whenever we go to divide fractions like that, we can do that.
This is one of the methods you could use. If you don't want to do this method, that's fine, but you're going to use it at least once today. Questions right now on this method, Madison's. Hughes method. If you are okay with reciprocals and giant ones, you might like Hughes method. So Hugh, same problem. He just wrote it as one big fraction problem. 1 3/8 divided by 3/4. Remember that division sign can also be our fraction bar? Then he changed it. Wait a minute, I know 1 3/8 is 11/8. 11/8 divided by 3/4. Look at his super giant 1. He multiplied by 4/3 over 4/3. Why do you think he multiplied by 4/3? Any ideas, Bailey?
Change the numerator and denominator from the 3/4.
Oh, what happens if I do 3/4 times 4/3?
I don't know.
I don't remember, because you
Oh, we did this on homework.
Because you won.
It gives you 1.
Yeah.
Remember multiplying by the reciprocal? So Hugh said, wait a minute. I don't want this denominator. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So he multiplied 4/3 over 4/3. It's called a super giant 1. You guys remember the giant 1, right?
Yeah.
2 over 2 just doubles my fraction. I can multiply by 3 over 3. Triples my fraction. He's multiplying by 4/3 over 4/3. So he did, yes, honey?
What that does, it allows you to kind of like multiply a fraction that's not the same.
Yeah, but it makes a 1 down here. So he's trying to get rid of that denominator. Just like Madison did 8 divided by 8 and got 1. Hugh is going to do 3/4 times 4/3. It gives him 12 over 12. That's 1 whole. Then he did 11/8 times 4/3. So he multiplied by the reciprocal. The super giant 1 is the reciprocal over the reciprocal. 44 over 24. That's the same as 1 in 20/24, which is the same as 1 in 5/6. It gets him the same answer. A different method, multiplying a supergiant 1, multiplying by the reciprocal of the denominator. You are going to work on 2 problems. You have to solve each of them 2 different ways. And you have to use each method at least once. So one of them, Even if you don't like Ramona's, you have to use hers once. Even if you don't like Madison's, you have to use hers once. She was the common denominator. Ramona was the fraction, or the number line. Even if you don't like Hughes, multiplying by that super giant 1, you have to use it at least once. So 89, those are those 2 questions on the bottom of 89. 4/5 divided by 1/2, 2 1/2 divided by 3/4.